Good morning, and happy holiday Monday, I guess. Hope everybody's enjoying their long weekend. Swathed the canola there yesterday, swathed till about, I think it was about 10:30 when I got finished. Really happy with that. Crop is pretty even one into the other. There's some on the east side of the field that was drowned out, but not a lot. So made a pretty nice swath. Looks like it's going to be a pretty good crop. It's nice to get that down a few days before the frost. We did get a weather update from Environment Canada on the phone that said going to be an abrupt change to fall here in the next week. So temperatures are, below zero. You definitely don't want your canola to freeze standing. Might have been nice to give it another week. I don't know. They say the later the better, but some of the canola out in there was pretty ripe. So it's all swathed now. Should be good. We got our wet bin pretty much empty. Tandem's empty. Super Bs are empty. But there's those couple of bins up in the bin yard that are full of tough grain. So we're going to get the grain vac hooked up here and get that up and keep drying grain today. We're just I loaded a bag up there, and now I'm gonna go in and have a third cup of coffee. It's super heavy dew last night, so everything's soaking wet and water dripping off. All right, so another lady showed up. She just took 20 little bags, got those loaded up, got my grain vac hooked up here, gonna head up. So we had filled 3 2,500 bushel bins with that tough grain. I got fans going on 2 of them that are right full. The other one it wasn't quite full, it was almost full, but it had a few room for 100, 200 more bushels. So that's the one without the fan. I'm going to take that out right now because I expect that we're already on borrowed time. When you put 18 moisture grain in a bin, you don't want to walk away from that. So that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to set the grain back up. I'm going to walk back down, grab the tandem. I'm going to fill the tandem up. Then I'm going to plug my cable into a couple of canola bins that I got kept over, and these 2 with the fans on it, because I want to see. And I'm going to climb up on the one too. I want to see. You'll be able to tell because these aren't very big bins. So the fans we have are adequate size to move the air through. And it actually moves the air through quite good. Like it'll almost blow your hat off when you go to the top. And that's because the bins aren't very big. So I want to see if there's water on the inside of the bin. There should be, because the grain was pretty tough. So, and if there is, then I guess it must be getting a little bit drier. I guess I got lunch ready now, so I'm going to slip in and have lunch. It's just about 2 o'clock. Hopper bin, flat bottom bin, pros and cons. I don't know. I can tell you one con about flat bottom bins, especially on wood floors and older ones. These bins were here long before we farmed here. They used only pit run to level the bins, which is this big rock. So one year we cut a bunch of the rotten stuff out of the floor and tried to level it a little bit better. Another thing too, when aeration fans first were getting going, they thought, well, we'll just run a tube, right? That's what these pieces are. So they just ran a tube out in here. In order to do that, they had to just cut a hole in the wall. So they did that, and just nothing against them really, just at the time, the way it was done. Now we got water coming around here. This bin's particularly bad. Believe it or not, fortunately, this was all #1 canola. I didn't, it's one thing when you're cleaning these bins out, you don't try to put this on the load. Like you just own up to that's no good. It doesn't pay to try to be shifty and sneaky. Just take that and you shovel it out. It all goes back to, do you want to do the work or not, right? If you want to spend a bin like this, I don't even know, you could probably buy it at an auction sale for fairly cheap. I mean, like maybe a few $1,000s. Probably not even that much, because nobody wants them. Everybody wants hopper bins. So this is a 4,500 bushel bin. you might be able to buy it for $1,000, $1,200 with no floor at an auction. That's a pretty cheap bin. The new hopper bins, my dad was at a thing there the other day. I think they're $5 a bushel for 8,000 bushel bin. So you can pay $1,000, $1,200, $1,500 for this bin. You know, fix up the floor a little bit, put some silicone around it or some foam or whatever. Put a cable in it and watch your grain, or you can spend, what is that, $40,000 on an 8,000 bushel bin. So twice as big as this on a hopper. You know, with a you know, all the newest technology, aeration fan and stuff like that. I don't actually think that gets you the fan. It gets you the ducting and everything for the fan. So it's all, you know, it's all a cost to work thing, right? I mean, if you're willing to do the work, do another options to these older flat bottom bins. They'll do steel floors, bin boosters, all those kind of things. Lumber is actually getting to be quite expensive, so you know, it makes sense maybe to even put a steel floor in here or something. When you go ahead and do that, now you can upgrade. Now you can upgrade your aeration system. You can add 1,000 bushels of storage, maybe if you put in a, say, a 4-foot bin booster. Tons of things you can do. We own a grain vac. We always will own a grain vac. Makes cleaning these out relatively easy. So to us, like I say, we just don't. We see the draw to hopper bins, and you know, they make work easy. They're easy to unload. You know, they're shiny, they're smooth walled, they're cool, everything's great about them, but they're very expensive, you know, they're just very, very expensive. Good evening. So another day of drying and moving grain around. We actually had to switch gears, one of our bins of canola, and it was only 500 bushels, it was just the bottom of a bin. What we couldn't make up for load was starting to warm up a little bit. It was moving up a few degrees. That's not 500 bushels these days isn't enough for anything. So instead, like, you can barely, I mean, we don't even have bins where you could properly aerate that. So we just pulled that 500 bushels out, threw it in the dryer. So I'm gonna dry it down. Obviously there's a reason why it's warming up a little bit in the middle. So we're going to do that. And then just put it right back in that same bin. It's in a small bin, like 1,000 bushel bin, just a little bit in the bottom. So, but also, we are now loading up the back of the buggy with all the stuff from our fridge. We bought a new fridge about 2 months ago because the fridge that was in this trailer, what would happen is it would freeze up at the back, so you'd have to unplug it for a day or two, and you'd usually end up with water on the floor and stuff in the kitchen. But the fridge still worked, just for that minor inconvenience. So we bought a new fridge. We're taking all the food from the house fridge and we're going to take it up and put it in the chicken coop fridge. So I realize not everybody can, like, you can't save everything, but when you're on the farm and you have lots of space and lots of buildings and stuff like that and a little bit of know-how, you can save that stuff and maybe get yourself out of a bind. So that's going to be it for me tonight. We're going to dry this last load of canola, or this load of canola, then switch back to drying barley. In the morning I got to move some augers around so I can unload this canola because we only have so many augers. We'll see how that goes. But to everybody that watches, thank you for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.